Anfang der Woche gab das Auswärtige Amt bekannt, dass es sehr wohl seine Ermittlungsergebnisse über die Nord Stream-Anschläge mit den russischen Behörden teile. Zuvor hatte der russische Außenminister Sergei Lawrow Deutschland unmittelbar aufgefordert, seine Akten diesbezüglich offenzulegen. Laut aktuellen Medienberichten soll der ukrainische Präsident Wladimir Selenskij seine finale Zustimmung zu dem Terrorangriff auf die Gaspipelines Nord Stream 1 und 2 gegeben haben. Russland hingegen insistiert, dass die USA die Drahtzieher des Anschlages seien. Wie schätzt du die Angelegenheit ein? Welche Rolle spielte Selenskij bei dem Nord Stream-Anschlag? Und kooperieren die deutschen Behörden tatsächlich mit den russischen Behörden, um das Verbrechen aufzuklären?
I mean, this is it's tragic. First of all, we have to understand from a German perspective, this attack has led to the destruction of the German economy, and with it, the fracturing of German society. This is not a trivial matter. This is not, something that just becomes part of the overall, comedy of errors that appears to be German politics in the current era. It'd be interesting to see what the German proof is. It flies in the face of reporting from people such as Seymour Hersh, who has pointed the finger at the United States. It flies in the face of statements made by President Biden, by members of the United States Senate, by Victoria Nuland, that implicate the United States as being the party that not only threatened to attack the pipelines, but appears to have carried it out. It's also interesting, though, that the German government has publicly said that Russia did not do this, because one of the initial theories that was put out there was that Russia was behind the attack, that this is something the United States and other European nations, including Germany initially, that was a theory that was embraced. The German government has come out and said straight up, Russia was not involved in this. Which now means that somebody else did it. And the question now is the ultimate, crime fighting problem: who done it? Who did it? The Ukrainian scenario is one that flies in the face of expert opinion regarding what it would take to attack the Nord Stream pipeline. Is 6 drunken divers on a rowboat in the middle of the Baltic Sea really the vector for destroying these pipelines, or was it, the byproduct of a larger U.S. NATO effort to attack their German allies, and now Ukraine is being thrown away as a cover story, part and parcel of what appears to be a dump Zelensky strategy that the West has engaged in. We don't know. I mean, this is just a very curious time that we live in. It would be interesting if Germany did share with Russia, and indeed, the broader Western audience, the findings of its investigation and how it came to the conclusion that Ukraine was involved, and why it doesn't believe that this is a CIA cover story to disguise American involvement. These are all fair questions, but we've come to an important crossroads where Germany is confronted with the reality that either way, nations it has aligned itself with, nations it claims to be friends with, have conspired to destroy Germany by destroying the Nord Stream pipeline. It'll be curious to see how Germany goes forward vis-a-vis the Ukraine problem from now on, and what Germany will do, if anything, to repair relations with Russia, now that Russia has been shown to be the innocent party.
Während die Bundesregierung die Causa Nord Stream möglichst unkommentiert lässt, schlugen die aktuellen Berichte Wellen in der deutschen Opposition. So meldete sich die Bundessprecherin der Alternative für Deutschland, Alice Weidel, über X zu Wort und forderte, dass die Ukraine für die entstandenen Schäden durch den Nord Stream-Angriff aufkommen müsse. Jegliche Unterstützung an Kiew sollte gestoppt werden. Die Debatte fällt zeitgleich zu einer Auseinandersetzung zwischen dem Bundesfinanzministerium und dem Bundesverteidigungsministerium, in dem laut Medienberichten Bundesfinanzminister Christian Lindner klargemacht haben soll, dass es keine zusätzlichen Leistungen für die Ukraine mehr geben könne. Das Fass ist leer. Erleben wir gerade einen Zusammenbruch der Unterstützung für die Ukraine unter dem Vorwand angeblicher Nord Stream-Ermittlungen? Welche Rolle spielt die deutsche Finanz- und Militärhilfe für die Ukraine?
Well, Germany has for some time under Chancellor Scholz and under Pistorius, the defense minister, and even the foreign minister, Baerbock, said that support for Ukraine was absolute, that Germany was going to be there until the end, just side by side. And that apparently is not the case because the German people appear to be speaking up. What the relationship between Nord Stream and the situation is, I don't know. Could it be circumstantial, coincidence, or are they linked as part of a broader conspiracy within Germany to find a off-ramp of this Ukrainian debacle that it's gotten itself into? The German Defense Ministry has literally gone crazy, absolutely crazy. These are people now who believe that they need to expand the size of the German military, that they need to prepare for a war with Russia. Why would you fight Russia? Russia's not your enemy. Somebody else blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, but now they want to fight Russia. Fight Russia in Ukraine, which now the German ministry says is the enemy of Germany because they attacked. The German military is nonsensical. I mean, they allowed 2 uniformed officers to go on TV and give a briefing where they gloat over the Battle of Kursk, as if they forgot what happened in 1943. They've gone insane. And maybe this is time for the German military to be brought to heel using the tool of fiscal reality. As the German Minister of Defense found out, he's not going to be able to expand the German military because there is no money for the German military. The German military, instead of growing, will continue to shrink. And maybe these uniformed idiots who brief about past accomplishments disguised, in the form of present day activities, will lose their jobs and have to go work as bakers or butchers or farmers or something less violent. But either way, it's game, set, match against the German defense ministry. The idea that Germany was going to rebuild itself militarily and serve as the vanguard of a united Europe to confront the Russian hordes has been exposed as just another, fantasy on the part of the Scholz government. This is the end. The dreams of greatness are over. The German weapons are burning in Ukraine. The German weapons makers' stocks are plummeting, and confidence in the German military by the German people is likewise plummeting. And this is a good thing. This is a very good thing. The quicker the German dreams of military power and ambition can collapse, the better off Germany and Europe will be.
Der indische Premierminister Narendra Modi besucht diese Woche die ukrainische Hauptstadt Kiew und trifft dort den ukrainischen Präsidenten Wladimir Selenskij. Es ist der erste Besuch von Modi seit der Eskalation des Ukraine-Konflikts. Die Führung in Kiew hat hohe Erwartungen an den Besuch. Indien soll als potenzieller Wackelkandidat innerhalb der BRICS bearbeitet werden, um so möglicherweise Zugang zum globalen Süden zu gewinnen und diesen gegen Russland zu drehen. Gleichzeitig nährt Modis Besuch in der Ukraine global Hoffnungen, dass Indien eine Vermittlerrolle zukommen könnte, um Friedensverhandlungen einzuleiten. Wie ist deine Sicht auf Modis Besuch in der Ukraine? Ist Indien eine Schwachstelle in der multipolaren Weltordnung der BRICS? Können Selenskij und die Ukraine ihren Einfluss auf den globalen Süden steigern?
First of all, India is a world player, a world leader that possesses an independent foreign policy. India has made this clear that it alone decides its foreign policy. I will say this, though, compare and contrast the gravitas associated with Modi's earlier meeting with Putin and the circus show that's going to be his meeting with Zelensky, and decide for yourself which one is more serious. In his meeting with Vladimir Putin, Modi committed to attending the BRICS conference in Kazan in October. This means that the big three, Putin, Modi, Xi Jinping from China, will be sitting at the table. Zelensky doesn't factor into this at all. Zelensky is a non-player, the pathetic leader of a collapsing nation that's going to disappear from the face of the earth. Modi is asserting India's foreign policy independence. He is somebody who has been supportive of a peace plan to bring an end to this fighting, as any logical, rational human being would. I think he is going to Ukraine to see what the potential of continuing down this path will be. I also think he will be confronted by the irrational illogic of the Ukrainian government, and he will be made cognizant of the reality that Ukraine is incapable of pursuing a responsible path towards peace. The idea that somehow Modi is going to leave Kiev even more shaky than people falsely claim him to be when it comes to this is absurd in the extreme. India's future is with BRICS. India knows this. India understands the importance of a multipolar world. And India is not going to do anything to hazard its engagement with this, growing movement of the global South. So I think those who are, hanging their hopes on somehow India walking away from BRICS or seeking to disrupt the BRICS because of the Ukraine conflict are going to be gravely disappointed.
Lass uns thematisch in Asien bleiben. Ende Juli besuchte US-Außenminister Antony Blinken zusammen mit US-Verteidigungsminister Lloyd Austin die Philippinen. Auf den Philippinen liegt derzeit ein Hauptaugenmerk der US-Strategie im Indopazifik, da sich die Inselnation in einem territorialen Konflikt mit der Volksrepublik China befindet. Streitpunkte sind einige Atolle im südchinesischen Meer. Die USA sicherte den Philippinen ein Rüstungspaket in Höhe von 500 Millionen US-Dollar zu. Im Raum stehen zudem die Stationierung von US-Mittelstreckenraketen auf den Philippinen. Wie siehst du die US-Strategie im Indopazifik? Was erreichen die USA mit der Aufrüstung der Philippinen?
I mean, the U.S. strategy in seeking to militarize this conflict is part of its overall strategy of confrontation with China in the Pacific, which puts an emphasis on military might over diplomacy. The Philippines is incapable of prevailing in any large-scale conflict with China, and any such conflict will result in the destruction of the Philippines, and the Philippines knows this. As the U.S. arms the Philippines, it's also promoting what's called the AUKUS relationship with Australia and the United Kingdom. There was just a ministerial in the United States where they talked about increasing expenditures in Australia. There's growing opposition to this in Australia that recognize that this is just a one-way ticket to destruction, that the U.S. has no strategy other than war, and war is not a strategy. And I think you're going to see in the Philippines a growing recognition that war is not the solution, that the United States offers nothing other than war. $500 million is nothing in the grand scheme of things. In order to sustain Ukraine in a conflict with Russia, hundreds of billions of dollars were invested in a failing effort. If you think $500 million is going to tip the balance in favor of the Philippines over a regional military superpower like China, it's absurd in the extreme. This is, again, just part and parcel of the reality that the United States today doesn't know how to engage responsibly in terms of diplomacy, that all we have is the military solution, and that's not a solution at all.
Sollten die USA tatsächlich nuklear bestückbare Mittelstreckenraketen auf den Philippinen stationieren? Welchen politischen und militärischen Nutzen hätten diese? China warnte bereits davor, dass eine solche Stationierung eine einseitige Eskalation darstelle und zu einem globalen Wettrüsten führen würde. Wie wird die Volksrepublik China auf diese Stationierung reagieren?
Well, I think we need to be clear that I don't think the United States has committed to deploying nuclear-capable missiles to the Philippines. They've committed to deploying conventionally armed medium-range missiles. If a decision was to deploy nuclear-capable missiles, then this would be a regional game changer. First and foremost, it would make Philippines a nuclear target. And I think the Philippines would be appraised of that fact by China, letting the Philippines know that now that they've become part of the nuclear posture of the United States, they will face nuclear destruction in the event of any war. And hopefully that would be enough to trigger a massive response by the Filipino people to evict the United States from the Philippines. As foolish as the United States is, however, I don't see them being foolish enough to try and extend their nuclear umbrella into the Philippines because it would backfire dramatically.